Hey everybody, this is Mrs. Stickler. I had some kids come in during Spartan time and they're like, "Are you going to do a video on the homework?" And I said, "Oh, I can. I didn't think you would need me to, but I can." So let me just walk you through these couple of problems. We've been finding circumference and we've been finding area for a while now, but I just wanted you to work on doing it when they give you something you don't expect. So in number one here, they give you the circumference of a circle. Now, obviously, this circle is very small compared to the whole thing, but they give me the circumference all the way around the circle, and they tell me it's 15.7 miles. So what is my formula for circumference? I know the circumference equals 2 pi r. Is that right? Okay, it does. And they want me to leave this in terms of pi. Oh, I'm sorry. They want me to use the calculator value of pi, and they want me to round it to the nearest tenth. So, how do I do that? Well, this is my circumference. So I know 15.7 miles equals 2 pi. Do we know the radius? No, we don't. So that then becomes what I'm solving for. So we're going to take 15.7 and divide it by 2 pi. So with a calculator, sorry, I had to go get a calculator. We would know 15.7 divided by, and I would put parentheses here, so you make sure you're dividing it by the same thing, 2 pi. Does that make sense? Because when I do this, I'm going to divide by 2, and I'm going to divide by pi. That's going to leave me with r. You could do it one at a time if you want. And what does that give me as my radius? Let's hit enter. Now it wants me to round to the 10th. So I want to look at the number just to the right of this 4. It's a 9. That makes the radius 2.5. And that's all you have to do. It's not as hard as I think some of you are kind of panicking, but really all you're doing is you're solving for something other than the radius. I mean, something other than the circumference. And it's going to be the same thing down here. This time I'm finding they give me an area and they want me to find the missing measurement. So I have area and I have a side of this parallelogram. Looks like a rectangle to me, not a square. So how do I do that? How do I find the area of a square? And you might grab your formula sheet which I just did out of somebody's desk. So I look for the shape that's like that. Look right here. And I'm going to look down of P, that's perimeter. Area. It's length times width, or base times height. So I know that the area equals base times height. You could use L and W if you want, but they mean the same thing. Now they gave me one side, but I've got to find the other. So let's call this our base, since if it was down here we know these two things are the same. We would know the base is 10.3 meters. And I know the area is 87.6 meters squared. So there's my B, there's my A. I don't know an H. H is this. I'm going to call him X. Can I get that X by itself? Well, yes, I can. I'm just going to divide by 10.3 on both sides. So in the calculator, all you do is you type in 87.6 divided by, since I only have one thing, I don't need to put the parentheses, but if you had more than one, you would definitely use them. And that gives me, we're rounding to the nearest tenth still. So look at the tenth place, look just to the right, it's a 0, so it's not a 5 or more, so my answer is going to be 8.5. So I know that X equals 8.5. Now meters squared divided by meters, remember the exponent rule. This is m1. m2. When we divide, we subtract our exponents. So that means I'm going to have just 1 meter. Shall we do a triangle for you? Okay, let's look at this one. What is my, oh, look, they gave me the area again. They gave me a base, and I'm trying to find this, which it's perpendicular to that base, so this is the height. So what is my formula for the area of a triangle? Area equals 1/2 the base times the height. So area equals 1/2 base times height. Plug in what you know. I know this is my area. I'm not going to use the units right now because I know I'm going from area down to a length, so I know my units are going to get rid of that exponent, just to kind of remind you about that. 1/2 is going to be the same. Do I know the base? Well, this is my base. And then this is my height. Let's call it x. So, what can I do? I can divide by, since this is all multiplication up here, dividing by that is going to do the trick. And this is exactly how I would put this in the calculator. I would type in, let me get this kind of to the side so we can look at it, 39.6, and I'm going to put that in parentheses, just to kind of get us in the habit of doing that. $39.6 divided by, and I'm going to do 0.5 for 1/2, times 10.7. Does that make sense? 1/2 is 0.5, and I'm multiplying these two things together in the denominator, and we get 7.40. I'm rounding to the nearest tenth, so that means I want to look at the 4, look just to the right. It's a 0, it's not a 5 or more, so my answer is going to be 7.4. So my x equals 7.4. Now, a length is not a unit squared, so I'm going to just leave that as kilometers. I hope that helps you. I think that most of you are going to be fine doing this from that point on, and that should be enough of a review to help you with your homework. And since most of you didn't finish it in class, just do the odds on the whole sheet. That would just be fine. All right. Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow.